What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Fresh Review. If you're new to the channel, what we do here is review each and every game of the NFL season. This is our Week 5 review. In the background, we're going to have the game of the week going on, which I believe to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And oh my goodness, what a week this was. Because if you disagree with that game, I completely understand. Because there were three games that were absolutely spectacular. But what we do here is we don't start with the best games. We recap starting with the worst game of the week and then make our way all the way towards the best game of the week. So the worst game of the week, without a doubt, in my opinion, was the Houston Texans taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, CJ Stroud had this play where he would run for 27 yards on third down. And I thought he was going to score. And he had to actually show Lamar what the wheels could do. You feel like Lamar got them wheels and stuff. Like he had to show Lamar, who was watching on the sideline, because Lamar didn't play this game. He's still dealing with the hamstring injury. Had to show Lamar what them wheels could do. And then on third and goal, Stroud delivered the laser to Nico Collins for a TD. Great to see their connection rekindling from what it was in years past. Now, Cooper Rush and the Ravens found themselves down at halftime. And Cooper Rush and the Ravens would come out at halftime and do what Cooper Rush and the Ravens do. That's just throw a pick. Nick Chubb would run down the right sideline for a 27-yard TD run, and that made the score 31-3. There's nothing else to really talk about this game. This game was over early in the third quarter. Derrick Henry wasn't doing good with Lamar, and that's when you had to account for Lamar's will on the read option and stuff. And he had that great game against the Bills, but ever since he fumbled in that Bills game, he just hasn't been the same since, really, mentally and physically. It's tough to see, but I don't know why Cooper Rush is even their backup. Now, the Ravens' defense, I want to talk about their defense because their defense is decimated with injuries. But they had given up more than 37 points every game this year, except for when they played the Cleveland Browns, who the Browns aren't even capable of scoring 37 points in like a full month of football. But granted, they got a tough schedule that they played, but it's like I thought this Raven defense going to be good. Now, this game, you kind of give them a little bit benefit of the doubt because they have so many injuries they're dealing with, not only on offense with Lamar, but also on the defensive side in particular. But man, I just don't know why Cooper Rush is even their backup because Cooper Rush is like a pocket passer, type of quarterback, and then you got Lamar Jackson, who's a mobile quarterback. Your backup should have the same play style as your starting quarterback. So one goes down, your starter, your backup comes in, the plays are all the same. I feel like you got Cooper Rush as your backup quarterback. You got to change your whole entire playbook and play calling system and all that stuff. But what do I know? I thought it was a truly awful game, though. 13 out of 100. Don't watch this game. Like I can't even applaud the Texans for being up on the Ravens. Cause I'm like, maybe the Texans' offense is getting better. I'm like, maybe the Ravens' defense is just that bad. I have no clue. Now we're going on to our next game, which was awful, but wasn't truly awful, and that was the Las Vegas Raiders take on the Indianapolis Colts. Now the Colts blocked the punt to get great field position. The Raiders punter got injured on this play. That's a huge note there because Jonathan Taylor would punch it in for the TD. The Colts kicker was roughed and injured on the PAT. He was not in the game anymore. So I'm not sure that was retaliation or what. Maybe, but hey, the special team units are down. Now, if the Colts punter got injured, I wouldn't say that's a good thing per se, but it had been acceptable because the Colts really don't punt. But their PAT kicker getting injured is actually brutal because they do score a lot of touchdowns. And they did score a lot of touchdowns in this game. Now, Gino throws a pick in the red zone off a batted pass by a D lineman. I thought there was movement prior to the snap, either false start or offsides, but no call by the referee. So what do I know? Everybody wants to analyze the tush push, get out their microscopes, the telescopes, the binoculars, and all that stuff. And, let's see if they're moving on the tush push. But on this interception by Gino, nobody wants to replay that in slow motion, 1 million frames per second to see if there's movement there? Because I promise you there is movement on this Geno Smith interception that there should have been a penalty, called the playoff. But what do I know? I'm just going to keep recapping the game. Now, right before halftime, Danny Dimes rolls out and he finds Michael Pittman open the back of the end zone. That man Pittman caught the ball while he was doing the Michael Jackson lean to keep the feet in. You know when Michael Jackson, that smooth criminal on him, he just got to lean with it, rock with it. That's exactly what Michael Pittman did here to keep the feet in for the touchdown. Now, Gino throws another pick and extends the lead he has as the interception leader. I think this is like his ninth interception on the season or something. It's ridiculous. This man putting up historic numbers. Like Jameis Winston without the touchdowns, the yards. Like that's what he's doing right now. Now, that set up another Colt score. and that made the game 30. Taylor would score another TD, and like I said, they didn't have their kicker due to injury. They went for two, and Taylor scored on that as well. So he got the octopus. The octopus when you get the TD and the 2-point conversion. Unfortunately, he won't be the cover athlete. I can't get him the cover athlete 2 weeks. Well, 2 times in like 3 weeks. I ain't trying to glaze the Colts and all that, but another great week here by Jonathan Taylor, looking like the best running back in football right now. But overall, I thought this was an awful game. I'm gonna give it a 19 out of 100. Very entertaining because the Colts kept, they made some highlight plays and stuff, but the Raiders really didn't come to play, and this game was over at halftime. Now we're going on to our next game. That was the Dallas Cowboys taking on the New York Jets. Now, Jake Ferguson caught a screen pass and followed his blockers for a nice 26-yard TD catch and run. Uh, Throughout the first half, though, Breece Hall was gashing the Cowboys defense, but he did fumble and get injured on this one play. I think he did return to the game though. Right before halftime, the Cowboys had run the ball. Javonte broke free for a 60-yard run before getting pushed out at the 2-yard line. They're just running the ball here to see, like, you know how they run it right before halftime. You see you can get anything to actually happen. You probably get tackled and you don't score. Javonte actually broke this loose, and they was able to score off of this. They didn't want to score on the Jets, and the Jets defense just gave it up. Like, hey, no, go ahead, man. You can have a touchdown. But they did tackle Javonte at the 2, but that didn't matter because on the next play, the Cowboys ran play action to get an easy TD to Jake Ferguson, his second of the game. Ferguson went a year and a half while scoring a TD. Now the man can't stay out of the end zone. Now, at midfield, the Jets would go for on fourth down. It was 4th and 1. They failed to get it. Dak hit Pickens for a 43-yard bomb. That made the score 30-3. And I thought it ended the game. Sauce Gardner was in coverage on this play. So George Pickens beat Sauce Gardner one-on-one. Beat him deep for a TD bomb. But the Jets did fight back, although a lot of garbage time yardage and stuff like that with Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson. They did kind of make it a game, so I think it's better than the other games that just stayed blowouts. The Jets did fight back a little bit. Overall, though, well below average. I'm going to give it a 33 out of 100. And then we're going on to our next game. Well, another team that was getting killed, but fought back a little bit more, and that was the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Detroit Lions. Now, Jake Browning, of course, is still filling in for Joe Burrow. And it was another bad performance by Jake Browning for at least the first half. Second half, he did pick it up a little bit more, but he didn't pick it up enough because they did trade to get Joe Flacco. The trade, I think, was like a win-win for both teams. Cause the Browns, you gotta have Flacco sit on the bench for the rest of the year. The Bengals need a quarterback. You don't really want to trade to your divisional rival. But it's like, yeah, Browns, you get a better draft pick, whatever. I think it's a win-win for both teams. Bengals are still trying not to squander this 2-0 lead they had, record, because they never really start off 2-0. They're trying to make the playoffs and stuff by the time Burrow gets back. We're going to see what Flacco does with them. But let's recap this game. We start off David Montgomery. He threw a TD pass to Brock Wright. Now, this is great commentary, by the way, because they mentioned that David Montgomery grew up in Cincinnati and he played quarterback there. He got himself a passing TD. So, like I said, that's a great lore drop by the commentators. And his sister is paralyzed. And this is like the first game that I think his sister ever seen him play in live. So, great job by the Lions to get David Montgomery involved in this game drastically. He got a passing TD because, like they said, he played quarterback in high school. So it's all great to see there. Trip down memory lane here for David Montgomery. Now, Jake Browning throws a pick after a pick after a pick. I mean, it's Jake Browning. You know what's going on here. The Bengals offense is a disgrace to football. Browning will extend the play, though, and then throw this pass into triple coverage. But he found the tightest window possible and delivered a dime to Jamar Chase for a touchdown. Incredible play here by Jake Browning. It actually reminded me of the Santonio Holmes Super Bowl play. Except, like, if Big Ben didn't stand the pocket, he rolled out to the right and made it happen. But, like, you look at the Santonio Holmes play, I'm like, that is triple coverage. What did you see there? Like, it's a dime, though. It's a perfect pass here. So, I don't know if it was luck or skill, but you got to respect the incredible play here. Then Jamar Chase would cook a corner on a double move for a 60-yard TD bomb. I don't know why the corner bit when the score at the time was 28-10. Keep everything in front of you, but he bit hard on this double move. He took the cheese and he paid for it. So then it made it 28-17. So the Bengals, they're kind of right there in it. You don't expect for the Lions to choke a 28-3 lead to Jake Browning. Like, Jake Browning, you're not Tom Brady, right? But the Bengals nearly recover an onside kick. But when they got the ball back, Jake Browning was sacked for a safety, and then that's what ended the game. But thought this game was below average. I'm gonna give it a 43 out of 100. There's some highlight plays here for the Bengals, of course, great stuff commentary wise, like lower drops. I gotta respect that, but I'm gonna give that a 43 out of 100. Now I'm going on to our next game. That was the New York Giants take on the New Orleans Saints, and this is Jackson Dart taking on Spencer Rattler, so two young quarterbacks, playing for a lot. Dart not really playing for his job because it kind of seems like his job is safe, him being a first round pick, but he's playing for Dayball's job, and then Spencer Rattler, of course, is playing for his job. uh, they keep losing. You might make that switch over to Tyler Shuck eventually, or they might draft a quarterback, whatever. I think Spencer Rattler been playing okay-ish, but let's go ahead and recap this game. Dart leads another opening drive TD score by finding Theo Johnson. I believe they might be best friends or something. I think that's what the commentator said. Because then Dart found Johnson again. He delivered another dart to Theo Johnson. So Theo Johnson got a second receiving TD of the game, and that was also Dart's second passing TD of the game. So Saint took a big lead early on. Rattler would then find Rashid Shaheed on an 87-yard TD bomb. Rashid Shaheed hit 21.72 miles per hour on the catch and run. That's the fastest ball carrier speed for a TD this season. Now, Demario Davis would punch the ball out of Darius Slayton's hands. That allowed the Saints to get in the field goal range right before half and take their first lead since week one. They had not led since week one, but the Saints have been in every game since week one, except maybe one. There might have been one blowout in there. I can't remember which. But the Saints get their first lead since then. In the second half, Dart would just drop the ball non-contact. He gift wrapped the Saints a turnover. Can we do an investigation to see if this man's gambling? Like, is there a parlay this man had for like a turnover? The man just lost the ball. I mean, oh my goodness. You hate to fumble the ball that way and not be able to recover your own fumble too. But the Giants would then, drive down the field, get into the red zone, but then Cam Scatterboo would fumble. The Saints scooped and scored it for a 90-yard TD, and that made it a two-possession game. That swung the game drastically. On 4th and 6 from midfield, the Giants would go for it. Dart would throw an interception. Would have been better if the pass actually batted down instead of picked off by the defender, right? Because on 4th and 6, Dart threw like a bomb, whatever. And, you swat it on 4th down. You get the ball at the line of scrimmage. Well, this joker intercepted it and like went out of bounds. So they actually lost like a net of 40 yards on the play. So basically like an arm punt here by Dart. And then later on in the game, the Giants get the ball back, and Kool-Aid McKinstry would pick off Dart again. So he had the pick that I was talking about on 4th down. He got the pick again here that sealed the game. So I thought this was an above-average game, the Giants and the Saints. Two teams that probably won't make the playoffs, but I don't think they're as bad as they're at least watchable, right? There's some teams that are worse than these two teams, without a doubt, but they're at least watchable here. And I thought it was above average, 63 out of 100. Costly mistake there by Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart. Those two fumbles were costly turnovers. Now we're going on to our next game. And that's the Washington Commanders taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Commanders forced a field goal, but they jumped off sides. So the Chargers actually got a first down, and then that led to a Lat McConkey TD score. And now Quentin Johnston, the Chargers' number one wide receiver, shocker to a lot of people, including myself, fumbles the ball. JCM would hit the outside for a 15-yard run, so the Commanders capitalized there by getting a Little Bill a TD. Right before half, Lat McConkey scores a TD in an electric punt return, but was waved off due to roughing the punter. Jaden Daniels would then capitalize off of that mistake to hit Luke McCaffrey for a 50-yard TD. Not TD, just a 50-yard bomb to get the Commanders in the field goal range right before half. So that's a 10-point swing. That would have been a Los Angeles Chargers special team TD. It's waved off due to the roughing the punter, and now the Commanders go and they get the field goal because of that. So that's a 10-point swing. And then the Chargers go for on 4th and 2. They fail to convert. The Chargers get the 1st and goal on the 1, but will not be able to score. On 3rd and goal, Herbert throws a pick. Costly mistake. And then later on in the game, the Commanders, I think, were up by 10 or 13. Can't remember which. I think it was 10. They could have kicked the field goal. It was like 4th and 1. They decided to go for a TD. We'll just go for it. And they scored a TD to Deebo Samuel. And that made it a 3-possession game that effectively ended it. It was similar to the Vikings and Steelers game where it's like, it might be best you just kick the field goal here. right? And then make the other team had to get 2 touchdowns in like under 2 minutes, whatever. But they decided, go for it, and it paid off here for the Commanders. It didn't pay off for the Steelers Vikings, but we'll get to that game. But overall, I thought this game was. I said Steelers Vikings. Was it Steelers Vikings? I believe it was, or maybe it was Steelers Brown. We'll talk about it. But that game, Commanders Chargers, 63 out of 100, just as good as the Giants Saints one, or just as bad, whatever, just as mid. That's the correct terminology. It's both mid games. But now we're getting into the good games here. That was the Minnesota Vikings take on the Cleveland Browns. And yes, I do remember this game. So the game I was referencing last time about the going for it on fourth down and stuff when you're up by 10, that was the last week London game between the Steelers and the Vikings. This week's London game or Europe game, I forgot where they're playing. But Vikings and Browns, Dylan Gabriel got the start this week because Joe Flacco was benched. And like I mentioned, now Joe Flacco's traded. So in the week 6 video, we'll be talking about Joe Flacco and the Bengals because they did rule Joe Flacco as the starter there. Now, Dylan Gabriel I thought was okay. They got 4th and 1 inside the Vikings 10, and they decide to go for it. They hand off to Quinshawn Judkins. Judkins does pick it up. On the next play, Gabriel does play action to get his first career passing TD. He hits Harold Fannin, so it's rookie to rookie. Now, the Vikings respond with a Cam Akers 32-yard passing TD. Scam Fakers, I nicknamed this man. Everyone thought it was a run, but Scam Fakers hit him with the fake. Halfback toss play. He finds Josh Oliver wide open for the TD. Now, Carson Wentz comes in, right? He's the starter filling in for J.J. McCarthy, at least until the bye week. After this bye week, I expect for J.J. to get his job back and stuff, or become the starter. Carson Wentz injured his shoulder, but he returned right after halftime. He led the Vikings down the field for a go-ahead TD score. Jordan Mason redeemed himself by scoring the 3-yard TD run. Jordan Mason did fumble earlier on in the game. Now, Dylan Gabriel and the Browns would respond with a TD of their own. A little deja vu. They go for it on fourth down, 4th and 1 again, like how they did in the first quarter inside the 10. Judkins picks up the first, and then a few plays later, Dylan Gabriel throws it to a tight end, right? This time instead of Harold Fannin, he throws it to David Njoku. So that's Gabriel's second pass in TD. Good pass here by Dylan Gabriel. Now, Wentz leads the game-winning drive. He finds Jordan Addison open on the right sideline in the end zone and delivers the perfect pass over Denzel Ward and before the safety could make the rotation over there. I don't know what the coverage was right there because it's kind of odd. Maybe it was cover 2. I don't know. Denzel was like, I don't know what Denzel was doing personally, but great read and great throw there by Wentz. And that was the game-winning drive. The Vikings win this game. They go into their bye week. The Browns, Dylan Gabriel looks okay-ish. I know there are a lot of Shador Sanders fans out there. They're playing with Shador Sanders by not really naming him the backup quarterback for like a long time. But it looks like he will be the backup quarterback. Did Dylan Gabriel because they did the whole Bailey Zappi's called up from the practice squad, and Bailey Zappi might be the second quarterback. Like, I don't know. They were trolling. But Dylan Gabriel got the start here. He will get the start again next week. He will probably start at least until the bye week. Even if he does bad, I think they at least give him 4 weeks to see what he can do. And Shador Sanders starts. I think the earliest he will start is week 10 because their bye week is in week 9. So you're a Shador Sanders fan out there. That's my prediction on the matter. But overall, though, I thought this was a good game. I'm going to give it 72 out of 100. Now we're going on to a game that I don't even know what to describe it as. This game was insane. You had to see it to believe it. It's the Tennessee Titans taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Kyler Murray going to start this game off, first quarter. He rolls out right, and he throws his jump ball to Marvin Harrison, who snapped it over 2 defenders for a 45-yard catch. And originally was ruled a touchdown. So I'm like, this man mossed 2 players. Is he Marvin Harrison Jr. or Randy Moss Jr.? Because this play was insane. But he got ruled down at the 1. But, they scored a touchdown next play, whatever. Kyler would then, on the next drive, or a drive or 2 later, can't remember which, he would run in for a 12-yard TD, and that would give the Cardinals a 14-0 lead. So it looks like the Cardinals are just going to beat up on the Tennessee Titans, right? Now, a snap would bounce off of Kyler Murray's face mask, and the Titans would recover it for a turnover. Poverty play here by the Cardinals. I don't know what this is about. Like, I don't know. Kyler wasn't ready for the snap. The center hiked it prematurely. I don't know what this is about. Was it too high? But costly turnover there when the Cardinals had a good drive there mounting. Then the play of the game, the play of the week, really. This is like a notorious blunder here. Amari DeMarcado would break loose on a 70-yard TD run, but he dropped the ball before crossing the goal line. I don't know why so many professional players are making this amateur hour mistake. And the craziest thing about it, L'Jarius Sneed, the man that was chasing down Amari DeMarcado, recognized it right away. And as I was watching the play, I thought I recognized. I was like, oh, I think he dropped it. I don't think he crossed the goal line. The man not only dropped it before he crossed the goal line, he started slowing down and like instead of running and sprinting through the finish line. That's what these coaches really got to teach players how to do. Sprint through the finish line. You don't watch track players do a 100-meter dash, right? You got 100 yards to run in the NFL. You don't even run in 100 meters. I don't know why you're gassed out. But 100 yards to run at most. Run through the finish line. You don't run to the finish line and start slowing down before, or you just stop before the finish. Run through it. Full speed all the way through. They really got to teach them to, like, don't run to the end zone, the front of it. Run through the back of the end zone, right? You know, like you don't play from the first whistle to like the last snap. You play from the first whistle to the last whistle, right? That makes sense. You gotta play through everything, right? Not when the ball snap, you just stop playing or whatever on the final play. You gotta play first whistle, last whistle, you know. But nevertheless, what do I know? But he fumbles there, and that was a costly mistake because that's why I ended the game. That put the Cardinals up by like 3 or 4 touchdowns, whatever, or possessions. They'd been over, but they don't score a touchdown there. They keep the Titans in the game. The Titans will take advantage of that and score a TD, but they missed that extra point. So instead of the game being 21-13, which would have been a one-possession game, it's 21-12. It's 2-score game still. So I'm like, dang. The Cardinals should still win this game. Cam Ward throws an interception because the pass was deflected. So it wasn't a bad throw by Cam Ward or anything. I want people to know that. If you don't see the right angle, you'll think it's a bad throw by Cam Ward, but it's actually a good throw. It just happened to get deflected, right? So then the Cardinals intercept the pass. The player for the Cardinals that intercepted the pass then fumbles the ball. Multiple Cardinals try to recover the ball. They looking like Dumber and Dumber out here. Looking like the Three Stooges. They can't pick up the ball. They inadvertently kick the ball into the end zone. And Tyler Lockett recovers the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. This is unbelievable. This is straight poverty hour. Like, this is like, a lot of people need to be putting fries in the bag. Like, this is a lot of fries in the bag right here. Extra large, super size me McDonald's going on right now. Fries in the bag for everybody on defense, for Amari DeMarcado, all that. Titans get the TD there. So now it's 19-21. The Cardinals, if they get a first down, they win the game. But they do what I hate to see. They play super conservative, and they decide to punt and believe in their defense. Their defense that just shown you, they cannot recover a fumble, but you're going to believe that they can get a stop. Cam Ward would throw a 50-yard pass to Calvin Ridley down the sideline, and it's great to see this. Not only was it a great pass, so it's a game-winning drive by Cam Ward, got him in field goal range. They make the game-winning field goal. This connection between Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward finally was good this week. So they really haven't been on the same page, haven't been connecting over the first 4 games. This game, though, best game they had together. But Joey Slide makes the field goal, and the Cardinals snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. You had to try to lose this game, and the Cardinals did. So kudos to them. I can't give this a great game. There's no way I can call it a great game because there's just so many mistakes here. But I'm going to call it a really good game. I'm going to give it a 79 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. And I thought this game was a truly great game. That was the Denver Broncos take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, on 3rd and 17, the Broncos decided to not have any safety support. So Devontae Smith cooks a DB for a 50-yard bomb. And the passing offense looked really good on that play. A.J. Brown does approve. Out of halftime, though, Hurst would throw a pass to Saquon on this wheel route for a 47-yard TD. And according to Saquon, that's not a play they had in their playbook. That's a play Saquon actually, not Saquon, Jalen Hurts actually drew up himself. Top 5 quarterback stuff. And then Saquon caught it in stride and scored a touchdown. Now, that gave the Eagles a 17-3 lead. Normally, Eagles up by 2 possessions in the second half. They're running the ball. Saquon got 1 carry the whole entire second half. He had 6 carries for the game. 1 carry the entire half while the Eagles were up 2 touchdowns. Keep that in mind. Now, the Broncos have scored 2 TDs in the fourth quarter, and then they decide to go for two and convert the 2 point conversion and take an 18-17 lead. On third down, the Eagles would get a stop, but Zach Baum will commit a late hit penalty. Tough call to make as a referee because the runner was trying to fight for extra yardage, and then like as soon as he went down, Zach Baum was already uh, diving in to make the extra hit. So it's like I don't think you call that really. It's just a good hit. But I will say it was a hit to the head, so maybe a Zach Baum hit him in the body, whatever. Maybe they don't call it. I don't know. But it's a whack call that gave the Broncos, more time to run off the clock, and then they do make their field goal to make it 21-17. Now the Eagles will uh, you have to use all their timeouts, and it's under the 2 minute warning and all that. So the guy get into Hail Mary range, and they do that. Jalen Hurts throws the ball up, but neither A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith are able to catch this ball. I think they both got their hands on it. I know Smitty definitely did. A.J. Brown didn't get his hands on it. He got his hands on Smitty's hands. A.J. Brown really might have been playing DB. This man might be the biggest hater. I ain't going to lie to you, because it really did look like A.J. Brown was looking like Pat Surtain. Defensive player of the year. Might have knocked the ball out of Devontae Smith's hand. And I would like to applaud Jalen Hurts here because he even threw the ball up and then tried to run into the end zone just in case like the ball gets batted down. He could try to catch his own touchdown. If somebody catches their own Hail Mary TD to win the game, I'm not sure there's enough glaze in the world to like. I'm glazing. I ain't gonna lie to you, especially if it's Jalen Hurts. I'm glazing. But overall, though, I thought this truly was a great game. Broncos in the hopes of the Eagles' undefeated season. The first Eagles L in a year since week 4 of last year. So, wow. Well, excuse me, with Jalen Hurts as a starter from start to finish. I forgot. We did lose to the Commanders in like week 15. But I mean, Jalen Hurts got injured that game. So, we really don't count that one. But I mean, nevertheless, it happens here. I think A.J. Brown being a diva kind of did hurt the Eagles' game plan this game because, he wanted to like appease A.J. Brown. So we decided to only give Saquon 6 carries and just throw the ball over and over and over and then become one dimensional. Well, I think we're at our best when, we're a balanced offense, right? But nevertheless, truly great game, though, 86 out of 100. Now we're going on to the amazing games and better, and there's a lot of these. And we're going to start with the Miami Dolphins take on the Carolina Panthers. Now, Bryce Young just gave Bradley Chubb the ball. Like, I was talking about Jackson Dart doing that same mistake earlier. Bryce Young did the same thing here. Like, we need to do investigations on these parlays. The man just falls down, fumbles the ball, and Bradley Chubb just recovers it. It's like a strip sack, fumble recovery, forced fumble. It's the whole shebang for Bradley Chubb. He gets on the stat sheet when it's like the easiest play of his life. Now, Tua throws a perfect pass to Achane, who makes a spectacular catch in the back of the end zone for a TD. Now, the Panthers go for it on fourth down in their own territory. They barely converted it. And it's the second quarter, by the way. I thought it was too early to go for it. I know you're down 17-0, but I'm like, I don't agree with that one. But they do get it in their own territory, and then they go down. They get a touchdown, right? So they later turn that into points. Xavier Legette makes a diving catch. Good catch here by Legette. Now, the first play in the second half, Rico Daddle, our cover athlete, I believe. I think I'm going with Rico. There's a lot of great options here, but Rico, 200 rushing yards. I think I'm going to go with Rico Daddle here. First play, second half, Rico breaks a 50-yard run. His second big run of the game. Rico broke another 50-yard run in the fourth quarter. He would score the go-ahead touchdown on third and goal. He had a huge game this week. Now, Tua will hit Waddle for a go-ahead 46-yard TD bomb. And then on fourth down, with 3 minutes left, the Panthers would go for it by relying on Bryce Young. They would score the go-ahead TD right after the 2 minute warning. And, of course, the Dolphins, they're up 17 whatever at halftime. They scored one TD, and that was super late in the fourth quarter, the Jalen Waddle TD bomb. Of course, they're not going to go score again. Their offense just went so stagnant, especially in the second half. They weren't able to go down and score again. Now, I thought this game was amazing. I'm going to give it a 92 out of 100. It's a tough game to judge, though, because it's like, I thought the Panthers out of it. And it's tough to say it's an amazing game because, like, the Panthers, Dolphins, probably two teams not making the playoffs and stuff. The quarterback play wasn't great, but it was, like, good for the Dolphins in the first half and then good for the Panthers in the second half. And it's so interesting. I couldn't believe the Panthers actually completed this comeback. I was very surprised. But overall, amazing game, 92 out of 100. Now we're going on to the Sunday night football game, and that was the New England Patriots take on the Buffalo Bills. Now, Ramondre Stevenson does what he does best. He fumbles the ball yet again. Now, Mike Vrabel will never bench this man because Ramondre Stevenson, like, I don't know what this man is. The Mike Vrabel. Boy toy. No, let me chill. Let me chill. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe, I think they were saying on X, they just joking and stuff. Like, Ramondre Stevenson might be sleeping with this man's wife or something. I don't know what's going on here. But this man has fumble-itis, and he just stays getting all the carries. But not only did Ramondre fumble, Keon Coleman also fumbled. So it's contagious. It doesn't only affect the Patriot players. It also gets people on the other team, because Keon Coleman would fumble. And then Antonio Gibson would fumble on the kickoff. But he also got injured that play. And when I saw the hit, I was thinking maybe it's a bone bruise or something like that. He had to get carted off. I didn't hope it was anything too serious. No, it's a torn ACL, so he's out for the year. Hate to see that for Antonio Gibson. Um, but now it's just Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson most likely in the backfield. We're going to see if Travion Henderson gets any more carries, or it's just going to be Ramondre Stevenson getting like an 80% workload. Because, like I said, Mike Vrabel loves this man. The Patriots got the first and goal at the 1 right before halftime, but instead of going for it, they decided to settle for 3. And I hated this call. They got first and goal because I want to say the penalty in the end zone put them there. And I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and go for it, in my opinion. But no, they don't go for it. They decide to settle for 3. Hated this decision, but it did pay off for him in the end. Josh Allen threw a pick in the red zone. The Patriots go the length of the field. Diggs had a couple big catches. He had a big game overall. This is Stephon Diggs' revenge game, playing his former team. And he's 2-0 against his former team. Beat him last year in Houston, beat him this year in New England. Ramondre scores the TD to extend the lead to 10. So Ramondre redeems himself from the fumble earlier. Patriots are up 20-10. Josh Allen, the Bills would fight back though, tie the game up. Drake May would make the play of the night with a defender pulling him down for a sack. He would somehow get the ball off and complete the pass to Stephon Diggs, and Diggs would pick up the first down. That would continue their game-winning drive, capped off with a 52-yard field goal with 15 seconds left. That play was huge because it's 1st and 10. If Drake May doesn't get the ball off there, right, he actually takes a sack. It's like 2nd and 18 or something. That changes the game drastically. If you get the ball off there, 2nd and 10, if you throw an incomplete pass or whatever, that's not the end all be all. But to not only get the ball out of your hands, to actually complete the pass, and then Diggs to pick up the first down, picked up like 15 yards on the play, that was huge because that got him so close to midfield, and now you only need a first down or 2, and then you're in field goal range. So great play here by Drake May. That's the play of the game. I thought this game was amazing. I'm gonna give it a 94 out of 100. And now we're going on to 3 games that all have been Game of the Year candidates, and they're tough to grade. But I have this one at number 3, and that is the Chiefs versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Chiefs take an early 14-0 lead thanks to Tyquan Thornton making some big plays. He really has stepped up in the absence of Rashee Rice. Kelsey scores the first TD on a pick play. The ref threw a flag, then picked it up. Mahomes used his leg to score the run for the next TD score. That's how they got up 14-0. On that Kelsey play, the pick play, you got to be within 1 yard. I think he's at like 4 feet, which is like 1 yard and 1 foot. 1 yard and 1 feet extra, whatever you want to call. It's tough to. I don't see how you pick it up personally. Like, if you threw it, it stays, right? So you didn't throw it, hey, that's fair. I don't know how you could really pick that up, but, I mean, what do I know? Taylor Swift just dropped the album. Let Kelsey get the TD. All the Swifties are watching, you feel me? But the Jags went for it on 4th and goal from the 1. T-Law tried to leap over the top on the QB sneak, but the ball was punched out. So they don't get it. T-Law used his leg to score the game-tying TD. The Chiefs would march down the field. Mahomes threw a 99-yard pick 6 to Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd baited him beautifully. He pretended like he was rushing in, peeled back in zone, then hit him with the user alert. Mahomes tried to make the tackle. Mahomes couldn't make the tackle. If it was Rashee Rice, Mahomes would have made the tackle. That's a different story. Devin Lloyd makes Mahomes miss, runs down the left sideline. Tyquan Thornton tried to chase him down and punch the ball out. He should have just made a diving tackle. And then, you get first and goal, whatever, but, you prevent the TD. Maybe your defense could get the stop at the goal line. But he goes 99 yards for the pick six. Now, T-Law would throw a pick deep in their own territory. That set up the Chiefs with great field position. They would score the TD to tie the game. The Chiefs would then get the ball back, march down the field, and score another TD to take the lead with 2 minutes left. The Chiefs kick the ball out of bounds, so the Jaguars get the ball at the 40-yard line. On a crucial third down, T-Law hit BTJ down the sideline for a huge chunk play. I think it was close to 40 yards. He targeted BTJ in the end zone, and the pass was intercepted to end the game. Wait, there was more. There was a flag. They called pass interference here. And I think BTJ did an okay job of trying to come back to the ball because T-Law underthrew him. So the DB didn't turn around. He kind of made contact by running through BTJ. BTJ got to do a better job of just getting bulldozed. That makes sense. Whereas if he stops on a dime, that DB runs right through him. Then it's an obvious flag. I thought the refs bailed him out. It could have been they didn't have to throw the flag here. It wasn't a bad flag or anything, but it's one of those if you want to throw it, you throw it. If you don't want to throw it, you don't have to. They just have to throw it. So that pass interference in the end zone gives the Jaguars first and goal from the 1. Now, T-Law, first and goal at the 1, trips over his teammate's foot. I believe it's the right guard. He falls down. He tries to get back up. He falls down again. He finally gets back up. Give this man life alert. He just keeps falling down. But he finally gets back up, breaks 2 tackles, and then runs in for the game-winning TD. Happy birthday, Trevor Lawrence. And that is how the Jaguars win the game on Trevor Lawrence's birthday. And that TD is with 20 seconds left, whatever. Chiefs had no timeouts. No, I think they did have 1 timeout, or maybe 2. I don't remember how many timeouts they had, but I mean, they didn't have enough time to do anything, so they ended up losing. So overall, though, thought this game was spectacular. 98 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. Game number 2, in my opinion. That the 49ers take on the LA Rams. Thursday night football game. That Chiefs-Jaguars game was Sunday night. Now, this primetime game right here with the Rams and the Niners, divisional rivalry matchup. And you got Matt Jones filling in for Brock Purdy, who re-aggravated his turf toe injury. So hopefully they don't rush back Brock Purdy again, but we'll see how the Niners do. Their training staff is insanely bad. But Jones was banged up himself leading into this game. But he got the Niners an early 14-0 lead. The Rams would go for on 4th and 1. They converted, right? But a few plays later, Blake Corum fumbled the ball on a toss play. He couldn't catch the toss from Matthew Stafford, and then the Niners recovered it. After that fumble, I'm not sure if Blake Corum even got back in the game. But the Rams would then get the ball back and stuff, and then miss a field goal in the 3rd quarter, and miss a PAT in the 4th quarter. So special teams had cost them back-to-back weeks, because you remember last week, they had the Eagles block 2 of their kicks. So a lot of blunders here by the Rams on special teams. They got to get that cleaned up. And it's kind of ironic because the 49ers are the team that's kind of known for having special teams blunders. So the 49ers are on the good side of that this time. On the flip side, though, the Niners, like I said, special team blunders, none this game. Eddie Pinero, their kicker, was great. He made all his PATs and his field goals, including a 59-yard field goal that gave the 49ers the lead in the 4th quarter. Now, the Rams have first and goal from the 1, right? They're down 3 points. Kyren Williams would fumble the ball there, and the 49ers recovered it. They played it conservative, which is kind of understandable because, you're at the 1-yard line. So they played it conservative and then punt it. If they got a first down, they would have won, but you don't want to really air it out and then, get it sacked or anything like that for a safety. So they just made sure they didn't get a safety, ended up punting. The the Rams were then able to get in field goal range, and they forced overtime. In overtime, the Rams committed a kicking penalty on kickoffs. So the 49ers got the ball at the 40-yard line. They got in the field goal range. Eddie Pinero doinced the field goal through the left upright. So hit the inside of the left upright, then went in right through the middle. So got fortunate there. So like I said, no blunders here by the special teams, by the 49ers. They're on the good side of it this time. The 49ers win this game somehow without Brock Purdy and all that stuff because the Rams would get into field goal range. Matthew Stafford drew this play up for Tutu Atwell on the sideline. Beautiful ball, 50-yard bomb, got them in the field goal range. Uh, but they go for on 4th and 1 from the 11. They didn't want to settle for the field goal. That kind of led to a time stuff. They want to try to play to win the game. Kyron Williams got stuffed in the backfield. And I didn't agree with the decision to hand it off because I think your best player is probably Matthew Stafford. And then, you got Devontae Adams, who's a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. You got Matthew Stafford, who's a future Hall of Famer. Put the ball in Stafford's hands, see if Puka and Adams can do something, right? But they decided to hand it off here, and they got stuffed in the backfield. So, like I said, the Niners won this game somehow. Rob Brock Purdy, Jawan Jennings, with a banged up Mac Jones, Ricky Pearsall not playing, no George Kittle, no Brandon Ayuk. It was Kendrick Bourne, Christian McCaffrey, a banged up Mac Jones, and friends out there on the offensive side of the ball. Of course, no Nick Bosa, who's out for the year. I mean, holy cow. The Rams, very disappointing L. Very disappointing L for them. But, spectacular game. Very fun to watch. 99 out of 100. And now we're going on to our game of the week. The game you guys see in the background here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Seattle Seahawks. And this is the game between the Ohio State University wide receivers. Now, Jalen Milroe, he came into the game for a play or two. But he came in and he turned the ball over on a pitch play to Kenneth Walker. The Bucks would capitalize off that turnover by scoring a TD with Rashad White. Rashad White was filling in for Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving's out with an injury. He's out for the coming up week in week 6. He might miss week 7 or week 8. I'm not sure, they got a bye week coming up soon, but he won't be out for too much longer. But he is out for this game and for next game. Right before half, Darnold rifles a pass to JSN for a TD score that cut the deficit down to 6. Seattle would make 2 explosive plays that set up an easy go-ahead Zach Charbonnet TD, and now the game just starts going back and forth with TDs here. Baker and the Bucks would respond with a 20-yard TD dart to Ibuka. Ibuka converts the 2-point conversion to make it 21-14. Emeka Ibuka gets the octopus as well, like how Jonathan Taylor got it earlier. Remember the octopus? You score the touchdown and you get the 2-point conversion. So, great job there by Ibuka and Jonathan Taylor. That's a good trivia question by the end of the year. I might hit y'all with that. Now, uh, Darnold will hit JSN for a 50-yard catch. They would score a TD a couple plays later to tie the game up at 21. On 3rd and 13, Baker will hit Ibuka for a 57-yard catch. Anything you can do, I can do better. Rashad White will score a walk-in TD on the next play. The former Carolina Panthers QBs are finding their Ohio State wide receivers for big plays. Now, the Bucks would get an interception, but it got called back due to a defensive penalty. The Seahawks would score another TD to tie the game up at 28. The Seahawks would force a punt, but the Bucks would pin them inside the 2-yard line. The Seahawks would march all the way down the field to get in the field goal range. They would go for it on 4th and 2 and find Sam Darnold found the rookie, Torrey Horton, for a 25-yard TD. That gave the Seahawks the lead. So, what a drive here by Seattle. Going 98 yards to score and going for it on 4th down. The Bucks would score a TD with 1 minute left to make it 35-35. They thought about going for 2, but decided to go for the 1, the PAT, believe in their defense, see if they can force overtime. Baker found Sterling Shepard for the TD. Sam Darnold would throw a pick to Levante David, setting up the Bucks in tremendous field position. Chase McLaughlin made the walk-off field goal. The Bucks win 38-35. Oh my goodness. This game was back and forth, and you didn't know who was going to win until the game was over. Uh, Overall, though, thought the game was absolutely spectacular. 99 out of 100. Same as the last game, Rams 49ers. Let me know what you guys thought was better between those two games. I was deciding between them. I had them in the same rating, 99 out of 100. Deciding which one to show in the background, because which one do I think is better than the other one. And I went back, I rewatched the highlights on NFL. They do the highlights, whatever, on the NFL video stuff. I went back, rewatched the highlights, and I was like, I gotta get to the Seahawks Bucks because, man, this game was just back and forth nonstop and so entertaining. But nevertheless, let me know what in the comment section you guys thought the game of the week was. 3 phenomenal games this week, without a doubt. All 3 will probably be in my top 25 games of the year video at the end of the year. But that will conclude this video. So as always, Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you guys on the next one. NFL Week 6.